guys? This is Frozen 2 Fan 2004 back here with another movie review, and great news to all the Pixar fans out there, I'm finally starting my Pixar reviews on my channel. I won't be reviewing any of the older Pixar films, I'm mostly going to be reviewing the recent ones like Lightyear, Luca for its first anniversary on June 18th, Turning Red for Canada Day on July 1st, and to start my Pixar reviews is my current favorite Pixar film, Soul. This film is directed by Pete Docter, who is without question the best Pixar director ever, even though I don't love Inside Out as much as others do, but it's still good. The film tells the story of a musician named Joe Gardner who accidentally ends up in the great beyond. In there, he goes on a journey with 22 to find the true meaning of life. Based on the title of the video, this isn't only a review on Soul, but it will include an analysis to why this movie is for adults. But yeah, I already said a few seconds ago that Soul is my favorite Pixar movie ever made. I know some people thought Turning Red was my favorite Pixar film, but I'll explain about that in my Turning Red movie review. What makes Soul the best Pixar movie for me is how it's got aspects that I want in an animated film. A very mature film that shows that not every animated film is for kids. In fact, the target audiences for this film are actually teens and adults. It's a harmless film for kids as it has nothing explicit that would make parents not allow their kids to watch this. But I can see kids getting bored with this film because of how artistic it is. There are some jokes that kids will laugh at, but that's about it. And speaking of the jokes, I love how it doesn't have a lot of comedy, yet when there's comedy, it hits. There was a scene where Joe, with 22 inside the body, kisses his aunt in a sexual way because he didn't know what to do. I'd like more jokes like that and less painful fart humor. But anyway, let's dive into what makes Soul for adults. Like what I said, kids can still find this film watchable, but they won't get the best out of this because the messages of the film speak to adults and kids. It's a very mature film that talks about life. The real message behind this film is how every minute of your life is the most important. What you do may not be important to what you think, but the thing that's most important is the fact that you're alive. Do you seriously think kids would actually pick up on this kind of message? Soul is basically an antidote to all the crappy animated films in recent years, and I've made a video about that. It takes away all my problems with animation and replaces them with I love about animation. It isn't afraid to speak to adults. It's mature, and the animation is creative. Realistic animation is my favorite animation style, and this movie nailed it. It pretty much has the greatest messages ever put to film. Not saying it's one of my absolute favorite movies of all time, just by the message it does it better than any movie. I just love how thought-provoking it is, and I've seen it like 4 times, I guess. Watching this movie feels like you're having an appointment with a psychiatrist, except even better. I'd recommend watching this film if you're having trouble finding purpose in your life a bit more than being with a psychiatrist. But besides the messages, there are other aspects of it at work. The animation is just beyond gorgeous and realistic. Even though Lightyear already has the best animation of Pixar, Soul's animation is super top-notch. I actually prefer the real-world scenes than the great beyond scenes, because the real-world scenes is what hits with the feels the most. Oh, and I also love how the cherries are animated in 2D. Now that's something new for Pixar, even if I prefer 3D animation. Everyone knows one of the highlights of Pixar is the emotion, and Soul does not forget that. There is the epiphany scene with Joe's flashbacks, which I cried in. It's not as emotional as Coco's ending with Miguel singing Remember Me. That will always be the saddest Pixar scene, but that scene I just mentioned is one of the best Pixar scenes. I just said one of. My personal favorite Pixar scene is the ending in Ratatouille, which actually I should review that film for its 15th anniversary. Same goes with Brave for its 10th anniversary. So now I got 6 Pixar films planned to review, but I'll try my best to review all of them in the future. I also do love the characters as well, and this provides some of the well-written ones. Joe Gardner is a well-written person who has such strong development, but I may have said this already, 22 is my favorite character. Some may find her annoying, but deep down, she's like that for a reason. Her goal is to experience life. The messages of the film actually comes from 22 more than Joe. I share a lot of feelings with 22. Terry is such an underrated villain. Sure, she is one of the weakest aspects of the film, but I think she deserves far more credit than people give her. The score is another highlight of this film. I just love how the music is so smooth and also feels fresh from the type of score I usually hear. However, I do have one nitpick with the film. During the body swap scene, you can hear Joe has 22's voice and is acting so different. So why doesn't anyone recognize Joe's voice being different? I had that question before, but on my latest viewing, I finally found the answer to it in the scene where Joe and his mom are having a pep talk. It's that only Joe as a cat can hear 22's voice in Joe's body, but everyone else hears Joe as just Joe. So, overall, Soul is hands down my favorite Pixar film ever. It is a film that has some of the best messages ever put to film and isn't afraid to speak to adults and actually be for them, even if it's still a watchable harmless film for kids like what I said. It is also now my favorite movie of 2020. Tenet has been my favorite movie of 2020 since its release, but now it's Soul. We need more animated films like this, even if I do slightly prefer Encanto, as that is the best animated film of the decade so far, but Soul is second. Let's see if Lightyear can dethrone Soul as the best Pixar movie. I give Soul an easy 10 out of 10. So, that was all for my review of Soul. What is your opinion on the movie? Comment down below, like, subscribe, and I have already announced my next videos on Instagram. Bye guys.